The film opens in Alaska. A man named Winston is in an isolated cabin just before FBI agents burst in to arrest him.
Hey! Get down here! On your knees now!
He is met by Deputy Marshal Madeline Harris, as Winston has been dealing with a crime boss named Moretti. In an effort to save his skin, Winston offers to testify against Moretti in exchange for full immunity. Madeline reluctantly agrees. Madeline escorts Winston as they are set to fly to Seattle for the testimony. They board a plane and are met by their pilot, Daryl Booth. He takes off, and Madeline notices a scratch on the back of his head, but Booth brushes it off as an occupational hazard. Winston then looks down at the floor and sees documents and photos belonging to the real Daryl Booth.
Fact is, she just keeps dancing through all the bumps and turns and turbulence.
He tries to get Madeline's attention to warn her, but she thinks he is trying to get himself free. The pilot turns around to give Winston a sickness bag, and Madeline notices what appears to be a bloody wound on his arm. She then asks him how he knew they were going to Seattle when she hadn't mentioned it. Sensing that she is starting to catch on, the pilot reveals himself to be a hitman sent by Moretti to kill Winston by leaving him and Madeline somewhere for the wildlife to get them. Madeline fights the hitman and gets knocked unconscious.
You want to play rough?
Winston talks to the hitman about his dealings with Moretti. Just as Madeline starts to wake up, she gets a taser out and gets it ready for when the hitman comes back, and she zaps him unconscious before tying him up.
And you shut.
Madeline undoes Winston's chains so he can help her. Madeline takes control of the plane just before they end up crashing to the ground. Winston finds out that the hitman got information on him and his mother to threaten him into cooperating. She tries to contact help and gets in touch with fellow Deputy Caroline Van Zandt to alert her that the trip has been compromised and that there might be a leak in the department working with Moretti. Caroline investigates while Madeline also ends up in touch with another pilot, Hassan, who guides her through the skies on the way to land in Anchorage. Madeline later learns that the real Daryl Booth was gruesomely murdered. The hitman regains consciousness and begins to taunt Madeline about an incident from her past. He mentions that someone in her care was burned alive and left to die. Madeline beats the hitman back into unconsciousness and is made by Winston to explain herself. Madeline explains that she was made to look after a woman in Mexico named Maria, whose boyfriend had business with the cartels. Maria asked to take a bath unsupervised, and Madeline obliged her despite that being against protocol. A Sicario ended up throwing a Molotov cocktail through the window, and since Maria was handcuffed to the bathtub, she was unable to flee, and Madeline could not save her. She was demoted to a desk job, and she has been haunted by her mistake ever since. Caroline gets back in touch with Madeline and says she has a team waiting in Anchorage to help her. Madeline starts to get suspicious that Caroline might be the leak. She gets in touch with Deputy Director Coleridge to alert him of the situation and to try and catch up to Caroline. After encountering a shipwreck on the coastline, Madeline and Winston are able to give Hassan a clue as to their location. This helps his radar pick them up and make it easier to guide them. The plane starts heading toward a mountain. Madeline just barely manages to avoid hitting it, but crashes through a huge pile of snow as she flies upward. The hitman's knife slides down and into his grasp. He starts to cut himself loose and undoes his cuffs after stealing Madeline's shades. The hitman frees himself and stabs Winston twice before attempting to strangle Madeline.
We're gonna get out of this!
Winston pulls the knife out and cuts the belt the hitman was using, and Madeline incapacitates him by hitting him with a flare to the chest and then knocking him out with a fire extinguisher. Madeline applies first aid to Winston, but he is losing a lot of blood and is starting to fade out. She contacts Hassan to try and find a faster way to get to Anchorage, and he tries to help her even though it might mean they would lose fuel faster, but she vows not to let Winston die. Winston starts to apologize for the crimes he's committed. This causes her to remember overhearing where Winston said he was sending money, as that is the same location Coleridge says he was coming from. This makes her realize Coleridge was the leak all along. She contacts Caroline to admit her mistake to her, and to warn her that Coleridge is coming for her. Madeline starts flying closer towards the landing strip. She tries to contact Caroline again, only to be answered by Coleridge, who informs Madeline that Caroline got into a fatal car accident, presumably hit by one of Moretti's goons. Madeline blows up on Coleridge and says she knows he is the leak, and that she will expose him.
You think I got something to lose?
God damn it, you're going fucking
Fuck
crazy.
you!
2 carrier jets fly next to the plane to make sure they don't endanger civilians by potentially crashing. Madeline gets in touch with Hassan again, but the hitman tries to attack again, and Madeline shoots him twice.
Get off!
You're drifting.
Hassan frantically tries to guide Madeline as she starts to lose fuel, and Winston starts to lose consciousness. Police and paramedics wait on the scene as Madeline makes a rough landing. The plane door opens, and the hitman is ejected from the plane, landing on the strip where he is, plowed by a truck. The plane comes to a halt, and Winston wakes up. The medics arrive for Winston. Madeline meets Hassan face to face for a moment, until she spots another one of Moretti's goons going into the ambulance with Winston. Madeline runs over in time to witness the assassin trying to suffocate Winston until she shoots him dead. She grabs the assassin's phone to directly speak to Coleridge and assure him that he is going down.